Welcome to another episode of Inspired Voices, the reality show edition. We are recapping with Sibyl here, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Yes.
We got through episodes 1 through 4.
Yes.
So far. Mm-hmm. And it only gets better.
Yes.
It is crazy. It's crazy.
It is reality TV, but it is not trash reality TV.
I would say that it's not trash TV. I take back what I say. It's good TV, though, that's for sure.
Just stick with your girl. I will help you down
Yeah.
the reality TV rabbit hole.
Right.
It's my happy place.
Trust the reality show recommendations from you. So we're pretty much almost halfway through.
Just about.
So today we're getting into episode 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
And take it away.
All right. We are starting with episode 5, The Book of Divisions.
Mm-hmm. The first thing I wrote down was, I think Jen is fake. But
you know why? Because that's where we left off.
Oh, right.
From episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're at the book signing party.
Mm-hmm.
And they had just gone around and done the secrets. And this is the last secret that they had left off with. Taylor's the one who read it, but we don't know who wrote it yet.
Right.
And we open with where we left off. I think Jen is fake.
Right.
And I mean, obviously the girl looks like she's about to be crying. The mood is then killed. Because up to then, like, the secrets were pretty funny.
Until then.
Right. Up until then, like, it was pretty lighthearted. The mood has changed.
That's like crazy, man. It's like, how do you... I mean, it's reality TV, right? But like, damn, like...
I think this was a petty thing.
Yeah.
That at their big ages, do better. Like, this was very much giving high school. Like, a slumber party that went wrong, but the parents have gone to bed.
Oh, right.
So you're
So
left to
now
your
they
own
can-
devices.
Yeah.
You know? And honestly, time and place. This was not the time or the place. This was supposed to be about Macy having a really big moment. Now, why they keep being like, let's tell secrets, I will never know.
It's a thing.
Much like Michaela, she's like, dude, where are our brains? What are we doing?
Who keeps bringing it up? Is it Demi or Jesse?
This one I actually think may have been Macy.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look because like there's so many like, let's do a truth box, let's talk about secrets like throughout the series that it does
Right.
kind of start to blend together. But time and place, like don't just save it for later because you knew that was gonna be nothing but mess. And honestly, it's just kind of mean. Like, say it with your chest. If you're gonna do it, say it. Don't put it behind a secret. That's not cute.
Right.
You know, Jen, of course, she ends up crying outside.
Yeah.
I think she's crying to Miranda and Whitney at this point.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, but awkwardly, before everybody leaves, Whitney reminds everyone that she's having a baby shower.
Oh, yeah.
Where there'll be bunnies, baby bunnies. Now, as someone who likes bunnies, baby bunnies in particular, that's really the only thing that caught my attention.
Yeah.
But it was just awkward. It was
Nobody really reacted to it, right?
because nobody cared. Like, and I think everybody knew, like, she wants us to come to try
Yeah.
and still, you know, ingratiate herself in the group.
She's holding on strong. I'll tell you that.
You know. And so back to Jen's situation, they're guessing on who the comment came from. And they're saying that it was either from Demi, Jesse, or Layla.
Yeah, I would agree with that at the time.
Of
for sure,
course,
yeah.
of course. As we watch things develop, but fair. So, you know, we get past that night, and then we're at this little, like, baby place where Whitney and Miranda are shopping.
Yeah, for her baby shower. Mm-hmm. Is it baby shower? Yeah, it's a baby shower.
It is baby shower. She's just doing it after she's had the baby.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because they don't know the gender.
Yeah. And Whitney says she's been getting close to Miranda and Jen because she needs friends, which I was just like, oh, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for saying what we all know.
I mean, yeah, facts.
Yeah. And you do need friends, girl. So
And it looks like they're getting along too, you know?
I mean, Whitney can get along with whoever she wants to,
Yeah.
as long as she wants to.
Yeah. And Miranda obviously clearly has no beef with her, I feel like. So, like, you know, everything's good there.
And Miranda is just, I think as things develop too, she's just like kind of quiet and like
Yeah.
the non-confrontational type.
Well, I think at this point, she's just trying to get a feel of everything.
Yeah.
And
You're right.
she's taking her time with it, which is very smart.
Yeah, and necessary.
She's not pushing anything.
Right. Let them come to me.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So Whitney says she wants to do something to support Macy. and at her pickleball event. So she started a new group chat, because remember she left the old one.
So she sends a message saying, hey, we should do something for Macy, and we should do this and this. What was it? Do you know the specifics?
They are supposed to... Sorry.
I didn't write down the specifics.
You know what? I don't remember what they're supposed to do anyway, but I do remember that nobody responded.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I didn't write down what they did.
But it also seems like they only gave it like a minute or two. And they were like, well, no one's responding. I'm like, oh, well, I mean...
But then they did do a flash. The producers showed us that some of the other girls got the text because they were doing their one-to-ones.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think Demi, Michaela, and Jesse, they showed, and they're like, we're not going to respond.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, she tried.
And so Whitney like turns to Miranda that's standing right next to her after she sent the text and was like, you have to respond. You have to respond just to like, just start the message, stuff. Like, don't leave me out, please.
And I think Miranda said something like, oh, I think it's cool, but it's like, you're still honorary. It doesn't really carry that weight.
Right. But she sends a text message replying. Miranda does. It's like, oh my God, that'd be so fun. Ha ha ha. Something like that.
Crickets.
Crickets, nobody else said anything, liked it or anything like that.
So we put a pin in that and we move on to Taylor. She goes to her family's house, which at this point, we're all like, oh God, how's this going to go? And they talk about Taylor making a TikTok with Dakota.
Yeah.
Because of course he's moved out. They're supposed to, be separating, all that.
And it kind of gives the intention of like, oh, they're back together and stuff like that. And then we come to find out that Taylor is still having sex with Dakota.
But it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Because, there's a difference.
Right.
And, she says, I feel nothing when we have sex. And she doesn't agree to cuddles. And that's a big deal to not agree to cuddles.
Yeah, that's true. Didn't she call herself like the man of the relationship or something like that? Where she just like...
I think so.
Yeah, she's just like, let's have sex. Okay, you can leave now.
Right. She's like, I can roll over and just be like, you can go home now.
Right.
Meanwhile, he's like, can we cuddle? And she's like, no, thank you.
Right.
And her mom is just like, her mom and her sister, I believe, are just like, well, why don't you just get a vibrator? Like, do something else. And I remember her being like, well, because a vibrator's not a person. So it's like... Right. Okay, we still have very muddy water here.
But I think her sister was the one that said, hey, you guys should stop having sex because you're not helping the relationship that's broken.
I feel like her sister keeps saying that. Like throughout. She's like, just be not together, please.
Yeah, fully.
Right.
Fully.
Because essentially, y'all doing everything but being in the same house together is y'all are basically just still dating.
Right, and nothing's changing.
Right. So let me move back to Whitney. And Whitney calls Macy about the video that Michaela made, the TikTok. And basically, she's like, well, Michaela made fun of her traumas.
Yeah.
And she feels like, Michaela's like bullying her online and this whole thing.
Yeah.
And she's upset because Macy is in it as well. And she's like, well, if we're okay, why would you be doing this? And Macy's like, I don't know what, subtitle she's going to put underneath that.
Yeah, it's captions or what she's utilizing the video for and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not a very old subtitle. That's okay. You knew what I meant.
Yes. I mean, you were going to the Netflix vibes.
Thank you. See, appreciate you.
No problem.
So Macy says she wasn't aware of the caption. And Whitney's like, well, I want to have a conversation with Michaela, before the girls' trip.
Yeah.
Because obviously, she doesn't want to have an issue on the girls' trip and that be the focus of attention.
Yeah.
If she can smooth things over quietly, she's just one step closer to getting back into mom talk.
Right.
Whitney is, as much as delusional as she can be, she's also very calculated and very smart.
Yep.
She
has a strategy. She has an agenda.
It's like a step-by-step plan
it is.
Of like loving me again. You know what I mean?
Especially the fact that she never reacts to negative things that are said right in front of her. She's just like, yeah.
And then ask,
like,
what does that mean? So then we go to Pilates.
Not all of it, I should say.
Yeah, we're going to get there, but where we are now.
Yeah.
We go to Pilates with Jesse and Demi. So they talk about not going to Whitney's baby shower.
Right, and they're going to host another party. Mm-hmm. Well, I forgot what kind of party, though.
It's a hibachi dinner.
Oh, right.
A hibachi dinner in, what looked like the fall, early winterish, because, it's outside, they're cold, that whole deal.
Yeah.
But she's going to host that for everyone who's not going to Whitney's baby shower.
Right.
which, you know, messy.
Messy.
Like, you don't have to host something else for people to have an excuse not to go. Once again, just say you're not going to go. We're all grown.
Yeah. And who was it? Demi? Demi's place that was hosting it?
Jesse.
Jesse's
going to host it.
Messy Jesse.
Yeah, see, it just fits. Now, it does get twisted later, but for now, it fits.
Right.
Demi says she doesn't know who is wrong or what's wrong with Jen.
Yeah, calling her a pathological liar.
Yeah.
And all that.
Demi with the name calling.
She's strong with the name calling. She's definitely trying to be on top. I could sense like she's trying to be not just the leader, but like the most popular one in the TV series.
You can start to see kind of a domineering personality coming out where it's just like, it is my way or the highway, what I think others should think. If you don't, you're my enemy. Like we start to get bits of that. And we're like, okay. So we also find out Zach called Demi to talk about Jen knowing about the Chippendale situation.
Yeah.
And he also said that it was just like her lying about the Ben Affleck thing.
All right.
So once again, it is everybody just being like, what's wrong with you, Jen?
Right. And for those of you who don't know about the Ben Affleck thing, watch the previous episodes.
There you go. And we also find out that Jesse's supposed to be doing Jen's hair tomorrow, like the following day.
All right.
And wants to know how to talk about it with her.
Yeah.
Because as we all know, if you in any way go get your hair done, first of all, getting your hair done, especially for women, it's like, you know, that's some free therapy time. You know, you're in there for a couple hours usually. So it's a good time to, you know, be able to talk, kiki, that whole thing.
Yeah.
If you happen to be in a bad place with the person doing your hair, that is wildly uncomfortable.
Yeah. I can see that. Quiet the whole time.
Oh my gosh. Then you got somebody putting chemicals in your hair and they don't like you. Like, it's
They don't want to make eye contact with you.
They may be cutting your hair. You're going to end up with bangs you shouldn't have got. Like, it's a whole thing. So because of that, you know, Jen is actually going to end up meeting up with Demi, or actually Jesse, prior to all that.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, we have one of the most awkward scenes, in my personal opinion, that I have ever seen on this show. Jen and Zach are in the car discussing mom talk.
And how bad it is.
Yeah.
And how toxic it is.
And Jen says, you know, they're trying to empower women. Well, Zach says, but all they do is shit on each other. And Jen acknowledges wanting to people please so badly.
And Zach's talking about how like Jen comes home every single day from hanging out with them and crying.
And she doesn't want to play the victim anymore. And in the midst of all of this, because Zach is actually driving her to meet Demi. Excuse me, to meet Jesse. Because, geez, these two. They're going to meet for dessert. And, you know, Jenna's reminding Zach, you know, well, I was raised in the hood. And, you know, they can catch me outside.
And Zach was like, you grew up in Provo, Utah. Calm down.
And then she doubles down. I was like, yeah, but I was raised in the hood.
You don't play no that.
I didn't know what to do with that besides leave it where it was at. It was wildly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So thankfully that
she's pumping herself up, pretty much is what's happening.
Find another way.
In a very awkward and embarrassing way.
Find another way, girl. Find another way.
Just because you Latina don't make you like that.
You're like, all right, buddy.
I was surprised that she was.
So yeah, she has pumped herself up, I guess, by reminding herself she grew up in the hood. And then she meets Jesse for dessert. They're in this little, you know, dessert place all by themselves.
Yeah, it's like they rented it out.
The poor person who's serving them, I know, is just like, please don't let this go left. I was just trying to get promotion for my business.
Honestly, it's like tea for them, pretty much.
Yeah, true. So Jen opens up by saying, you know, it's going to be a hard conversation. You know, so immediately she's setting the tone.
Yeah.
This is about to be some mess. And
I think she pumped herself up too much in the car.
Too much.
She thought she was a blood.
Boy. Jen asks when she's ever intentionally tried to hurt Jesse. And says Jesse's actions make her question her character. And Jen acknowledges that she knew about the Chippendales situation and told Jesse and Demi that her and Zach planned to go see the Chippendales show.
Yeah.
She also says that Jordan was literally grinding on her. And then Jesse tries to bring up the lie about being related to Ben Affleck. Like, it was a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
Like,
about different situations that happened.
it escalated very quickly.
Yeah.
Like, it was a 0 to 60 without Jen came to fight for real. Like, they weren't trying to work that out. She was trying to save face, I think. And Jen tries to deflect about that. Well, that's what I had heard from the family as far as Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And Jen said she did not give her consent for Jordan to rub, quote, his little dick on her, which was like awkward. And then Jen alludes to a weird swing thing with Jesse and is like, well, if you're going to ask, like, don't ask us to swing or something like that. And then she just like leaves.
Yeah.
It was, and then like Jesse's there just like looking like dumbfounded. Like, wait, did that just happen?
Yeah.
It was very awkward.
Yeah. Jessie was in disbelief. She even looked over at the employee that was working there. I was like, what the?
Right. Which, if I was the employee, I'd be like, they don't pay me enough to be on camera for this,
Right.
so I'll be in the back.
Yeah,
you let me know
yeah.
if you want some more hot chocolate.
Right.
But it was very awkward.
It was heated for sure. Yeah.
And just not productive.
Not productive. I think they definitely communicated in the wrong way. So.
For sure.
And then we move on to Michaela and Macy.
These besties. And Macy tells Michaela that Whitney wants to talk. But Macy had kind of tricked Michaela because Michaela was like already in the car with her.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to be they were going to this breakfast place. It's something with buns. I assume cinnamon buns or
Right.
Cinnabuns.
Something like that.
Something like that, which, to be fair, you could also trick me the same way. Like, if you told me that we were going to go get breakfast at like a nice place where I could get something, tasty, and then you were like, yeah, but we're going to talk to this person.
That you hate.
Yeah, like, I'm still probably going to go.
Right.
So I can get my food. But I'm not going to be happy with you about it.
Right. Tricky, Macy.
So we find out that Michaela and Whitney were actually best friends for 2 years. I don't think this was clear last season.
They've mentioned it, but they didn't go into depth, I think.
Yeah, and I do feel like things were a little less divisive last year. It was kind of like Whitney versus Taylor versus everybody else.
Sure. But yeah, so Whitney wanted to kind of meet with her to clear things up and see if they could make amends and kind of move forward.
But before they do that, Michaela comes up with a plan.
Yeah.
So Macy, she's going to put Macy on speakerphone, but she's going to have Macy like mute herself so that Whitney can't hear,
Right.
If something's being said.
That she's on the phone.
And Michaela's going to have a safe word, sisterhood. So if she mentions sisterhood, then Macy's supposed to come in and like
save
rescue her.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if Whitney realizes that like Macy's in the car. I don't know. But Michaela messes up and she mutes her phone. So Macy can't hear anything.
And it's like, why can't I hear anything?
And like,
But she stays on the line.
good friend.
Good friend.
But like, so like Macy's like, sipping her drink in the car and like, I don't know, she must have muted me and she doesn't realize it. So what can she do? She stays in the car.
Right. You know what I would have done?
What?
I would have hung up. If I was Macy, I would have hung up and called her to where she has to pick up, not on speakerphone, and be like, hey, I'm not on speakerphone, right? Okay, good. You put yourself on mute. Let me put you on mute.
That's a good idea.
Okay,
That
bye.
is a good idea.
And then put that on the
Yeah.
phone.
I don't think in this case, because of how Michaela did it, she may not have even gotten the call because like she put the phone like in a seat or something where she wasn't looking down.
Yeah.
But that would have been a good idea because
Yeah.
like that was awkward. Because she said sisterhood like 3 times.
She said it more than 3 times.
So Michaela is very direct, and I'm appreciating that about her so much this season.
Yeah.
Michaela tells Whitney she doesn't care to have a friendship. Like, she basically doesn't want to rehash all this.
Right.
Michaela says she'll be cordial in person.
Well, that's it.
Whitney I want to say it was in a 1-to-1 and not actually than in person. Yeah, Whitney breaks out a Bible verse from Ephesians, basically talking about being kind to one another, and that being a thing. And I literally have in my notes, stop, in all capital letters. I was like, girl, did you not watch yourself last season? So mean, so judgmental. So let's not, this is the pot calling the kettle black, I believe.
Right.
And at least Michaela's telling you to her face. So yeah, Michaela is not rescued by Macy and eventually has to leave.
Yeah.
But if you notice, she also had her order. She had her cinnamon,
did.
her bun box in there, which I respected.
Right. So she gets in the car and was like, why didn't you come save me? He's like, you put yourself on mute, right? And she's like, oh my God, I did. I was saying sisterhood so many times that I almost laughed because I was saying it so many times.
And then, we see Whitney and she's like, I just don't understand why we can't move past it.
Right.
Put a pin in that and we move over to Dakota and Taylor. Mm-hmm. He comes to discuss their relationship. And Taylor, the way she describes it is, we should take a good step back.
Yeah. Meaning no more sex, no nothing, straight split. Mm-hmm. Separation, I should say. And
then Dakota starts crying. And he says he doesn't want anything or anyone else.
Right. And it's hard for him also because the kid.
Yeah.
It's like that means he's going to be away from the kid more often, which he's not used to.
And Dakota realizes every trigger Taylor has, he activates.
Yeah.
Like, it's interesting because, like, every now and then, like, he'll have these little nuggets of, like, insight.
It's interesting that he's saying that because it's almost at a point, maybe we're not seeing it, but it's almost at a point now, is like, I don't see the triggers anymore. Like, I could see the triggers before, but now, like, are they still having those triggers? Because I'm not seeing it.
I do, because I think it's more so, it's one thing to, like, not feel super triggered when you're just, like, normal and having a good day. But, like, immediately, the Halloween party, the chase situation, he just abandoned her, didn't take her side.
I guess besides that.
Like, when it's kind of like when the rubber meets the road and he needs to do something for her, he's not showing up the way he needs. And they also trigger each other, and they're just kind of bringing out the worst in each other.
Yeah.
So we finally get to Whitney's baby shower, and she has the baby bunnies. And we find out she got the baby bunnies because...
Like, literally baby bunnies.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
I don't think they were in baby bunnies. They were pretty big bunnies. They were big bunnies.
Probably.
Yeah, but she got the bunnies, as you were saying.
She got the bunnies because she realized that everyone was going to want to hold her baby, who I think is baby Billy, which is funny if you've ever seen Righteous Gemstones. There's the second preacher. So she realized everybody was going to want to hold her baby, which is true. So she got the bunnies so that people could hold the bunnies instead of her baby.
Yeah, makes sense.
And it does, but
Smart.
It's also like, maybe should have been a sip and see or something. Just something where it's like, don't touch. Like, he's going to be over there.
Yeah.
Because he is like a newborn.
But also, good idea.
It was.
I would take that idea into consideration.
I would 100% go play with the bunnies and just be like, I'll see y'all later.
Or something like that.
Oh, that'd be so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, either way. Now, we find out at the baby shower that Layla was the one who wrote the secret about Jen being fake.
Yep.
But Jen says that her intention, as in Layla's, was to be included in the group rather than tear her down. Which, at this point, I actually do agree with. And I actually think it's interesting that Jen kind of calls it like that.
Macy told her Layla wrote it.
Yeah, Macy was the secret teller on that one, which I guess is fair. It was her party.
Macy told Jen?
Yes.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Yeah.
Macy told Jen that Layla wrote it. Yeah.
Surprisingly, Taylor shows up, even though Whitney didn't show up to her baby shower.
She says in her defense she doesn't want to be petty back.
She does.
She chooses her battles, that's for sure.
And when she's on one, she's on one.
Hey.
But when she's like, I'm going to be mature, she shows up.
Right.
Jen talks about Demi getting kissed on the cheek in Italy while they're, all together at this baby shower.
Yeah.
And Taylor also admits that Demi over-exaggerated Chase touching her.
Right.
And that Demi sits on her high horse judging the rest of them. And initially it's kind of like, not really sure where this is coming from, but eventually it kind of all starts to make sense.
Yeah.
Taylor
Taylor seems to speak the truth about what's going on in the group.
No matter what.
Yeah.
like no matter what the consequences, really. Taylor also brings up the secret that Macy received about Brett, basically saying some woman said she had slept with him while Demi was away. And, of course, Jen has a mouth drop moment at that because they're like, oh, really? Then we also see Jesse's hibachi night. And the first note I have is Layla gets hit in the forehead with a shrimp. Because she does.
So in hibachi, they cook in front of you, obviously, right? And so he was like tossing shrimp, and everyone was catching it in their mouths. And then Layla just went, and then it was like, even the sound effect was there. It was like right on the forehead.
And it's just, that was odd. Like, I feel like Layla has so many moments this season where you're just like,
embarrassing.
Cut this out. Please cut this out. Producers, editors, someone be my friend and cut this out.
Right.
But yeah, she takes it in stride, shrimp on her forehead.
Yeah.
They, of course, are talking about Jen at the hibachi night. And all the girls basically agree because it's Layla, Jesse, Demi, and Michaela who all go to this hibachi thing with their husbands.
Yeah.
I think Layla went single, though. I don't think her boyfriend was there.
Right.
And they established that Jen is the new Whitney, as in the new villain.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
And then we find out, like, a little randomly, that Jesse admits, because they were talking about how Jen had thrown out that jab about swinging at the end of their dessert debacle. And Jesse admits to swinging in her past and that she had shared that with Jen in confidence.
Oh, right.
Which is so interesting to me. Like, how many people do you know that are just, like, been swinging?
Yeah.
But in this group, we already got a couple.
Well, it's Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Facts.
So, a lot of secrets in there.
And that secret wrapped up episode 5.
Boom. Well. And then, I think we just go straight into it, right? We go episode 6.
The Book of Redemption.
Boom.
We open with Whitney and Connor. So Whitney goes to Jen's house because they were supposed to go to the airport together for the pickleball trip.
Yeah.
But Jen is a no-show. So she goes over there to check on her. And Jen says, I guess she'd already told Whitney she was pregnant.
Right.
And she says she thinks she has prenatal depression. And she says, and like Whitney goes over there, the house is a mess. You know, their toys everywhere. There's like everywhere. A bowl of like Fruit Loops or Fruity Pebbles, whatever. Yeah. And Jen says she had a thought the other day while she was driving with Zach.
Yeah.
That she didn't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she says that she pretty much truly hit rock bottom after she got pregnant.
And then Jen tells Whitney that, because at this point, Whitney's like a little bit in damage control mode of like, okay, well, I have to go to this trip, and they're going to be like, why aren't you here?
Right.
So what do I say?
Yeah, which is a good friend.
That is how you're supposed to do it. You ask other people, what do you want me to say? Because it's not your story to tell. Exactly. Right. It's not your story to tell. Right. And Jen tells Whitney that she can just say that she's pregnant, and that's why she's not going.
Yeah, she's pregnant, she's sick, and which is not lying. It's part of the reason. So that's it. So then they're all, at this point, they're in Arizona.
They all head off to Arizona.
Yep. They're getting get into a party bus, obviously, as always.
Because they're the party.
Yeah. And then we get into, where's Jen? Where's Jen? What happened to Jen? And then so Whitney tells them, well, she's pregnant and sick, so she decided to get some rest.
But Demi thinks that Jen isn't coming because she's a coward.
Right. Oh, Demi.
So many words. Like, sometimes just be quiet, it's best. So Macy's setting up the house for the girls while they're on the party bus on their way. Apparently, it is a beautiful villa that they all are able to get for this event.
Yeah.
Whitney tells the girls, that Jen's pregnant when they ask. Yeah. They sit down for dinner, and Whitney is doing a prayer.
Yeah, and she sneaks in there like, we're here as a Mom Talk family. Just like she snuck that in
and opens her eyes to look around. So thirsty.
So thirsty.
I'm just like, girl.
She's testing the waters. That's what she's doing. She's testing the waters. How are people going to react if I do this?
Right. Is anybody else going to open their eyes and look at me and vote me back in? Like, and then Jesse breaks out the truth box, because what would a girl's trip be without the truth box?
Right.
Now, so I just kind of like summarize kind of not even the questions, but kind of some of the outcomes of this truth box. So if we remember in episode 5, Jen and Jesse got into it about the Chippendales and Jordan grinding on her.
Yeah.
And, basically she said his manhood was small. So, Jesse was like, not on my watch. And she said that she, assisted Jordan, and they took out a ruler and measured it to confirm that it's not small.
Right.
But she showed a picture. She was like, it's blurred out. And Layla was like, it is not.
I could see the tip.
So she decided to show that picture to everyone.
Yeah.
That's not how I would problem solve.
Right.
But okay.
Right.
And then somebody asked Whitney, does she actually care about their friendships or just the public perception? And of course she's like, no, I care. They're like, okay. For Demi, they asked if she knew that Macy had received a confession about Brett and all of that. And Demi says, well, first of all, we've only been apart for 5 days in our entire marriage. And if he did, I would leave him. Just very matter of fact. And
I would know about it because we're so together all the time and stuff like that.
It's like, okay.
Okay.
And then Taylor was like, well, yep, the one time I didn't believe it turned out to be true. So, Jesse gets asked about kissing Marciano, who's this guy who's all wrapped up in the Vanderpump Villa rumors.
In Italy.
And she got asked about kissing him at Tom Tom, club in Beverly Hills. She denies it. She's like, I wouldn't be dumb enough to do that.
Yeah.
Now, then we find out some more behind the scenes stuff. And we find out through a secret that Jesse Demi basically threw Jesse under the bus when it came to contracts. And that Demi would have taken a bigger contract if Jesse wasn't on the show.
Right.
And we find out that apparently Jesse's a millionaire through her hair business. We didn't know it was that good and that big. Sure, yeah. But apparently, extensions are expensive though.
You see her shop, right? That's a multi-million-dollar shop right there.
And I feel like it's not her only one.
Right.
I feel like I need to do some digging into that actually.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because they get through it and they're kind of giggling. They're like, oh, we can't get away from this, and they're like, well, yeah, if I was a millionaire, I wouldn't take it that seriously either. Jesse really takes it in stride.
Yeah. They're all millionaires.
I don't know if they're all doing it that good.
Not some better than others, but I think they're all in the millionaire range.
If you're saving up that brand deal money.
Yeah, sponsors, all that.
So, I think for Jessie, it's just she's good independent of social media.
Right.
So then we get into this weird conversation where Macy asked Whitney if she regretted not coming to the baby mama event last season. And Whitney says she doesn't regret not coming. And Macy's like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, I wasn't in the place to come. And Macy's like, let's not pretend you don't know what the word regret means. What are we doing?
Right.
So that basically goes nowhere. Michaela says she doesn't see her and Whitney working things out. No one's surprised by that.
Yeah.
We move on to the next morning. I will say Whitney had on pancake pajamas that I thought were cool. Who wouldn't want pancake pajamas? Yeah. But that's me and my journey. That's the only outfit
that she's...
I can't with that. Don't talk about it. And basically, her and Macy start going at it again.
Yeah.
And while they're doing that, Demi and Michaela can hear everything they're saying.
They're by their door, too.
Oh, yeah, they're eavesdropping.
They're eavesdropping, for sure.
And, Macy tries to be like, really, do you not regret it? And Whitney she tries to be evasive and just in a weird way where it's just what regret means. And you're still doubling down. And she was just like, I think she said something along the lines of, I had a lot going on. And Macy was like, when my child's father died, I was a bridesmaid in 2 weddings. So don't talk to me about you had a lot going on, basically. And then, of course, Whitney starts crying.
Right.
Now, they go to breakfast. Macy
says that she forgives Whitney and wants to move on.
That's because Macy's just like, okay. She knows what she's got, which all she can get from her.
Right.
And
then Michaela calls out Whitney for talking behind her back and stuff like that.
She was like, we could hear you.
Yeah.
And they get into it. And this is when Whitney puffs up her chest a bit. And now she's not going to be passive about it. She's like, well, let's get into it.
Yeah.
And she got the wrong one.
Each one of you list what you don't like about me.
And then Michaela just shuts it down. She's like, I don't think anyone cares to.
Yeah.
And it just kind of stopped her in her
I don't think anyone
tracks.
cares to have an actual friendship with you.
And it's like, what else? What else are you supposed to say to that? But nothing.
Right.
You know. So.
I got Miranda was excited to be invited to the trip, but now sees how toxic it is. And
she's realizing it's a hot mess.
yeah.
And that's also why she's just being so quiet and just be like, please, I don't need any stray bullets. Please.
Yeah.
I just want to eat some pancakes and go.
Right.
We head back to Utah. Zach is taking care of the kids. And like.
He's putting a deodorant on 2-year-old.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. I didn't feel like you need deodorant in it too. I feel like that's usually like a closer to puberty thing, but okay.
I don't know. I gotta look at that. I haven't looked that up. I should look that up. And see like if you're actually supposed to put deodorant on a 2-year-old.
Well, he put a deodorant on and put her hair in a little interesting bun and then brought them up to their sleeping mother, to which I was like, I don't necessarily know if she needs to see them right now. She doesn't look great. So Jen says she needs to take a step back from mom talk.
Right.
And then we get a black screen saying that, as in, you know, the show was going to stop filming so she can focus on her mental health.
So, side note, let's go back a little bit. I looked up the 2-year-old thing with deodorant. No, you're not supposed to put deodorant on a 2-year-old. So, at what age are you supposed to apply deodorant? There's no specific age. Generally recommended to start when body odor becomes noticeable, which often happens around the same time as puberty. So, between the ages of 9 and 15 for girls.
I'm just going to...
9 for girls, 15 for boys.
I'm going to assume Zach was
Yeah.
trying his best. It was like, well, I do it, so I'll do it to you too, little one.
We're all supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so continue.
So yeah, the show says they're going to take a step back, which these days is pretty rare.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times, you know, shows will just keep filming and watch everybody crash and burn.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that was smart on everybody's part. Like, just take a step back, because at the end of the day, this actually is real life.
Right.
And this really matters.
And when you're talking about not wanting to be in this world anymore,
like, let's prioritize. Like, what actually matters here? So they take a step back, and then we head to the pickleball tournament.
Yeah.
Macy is hosting with Joey Fatone. And it was funny because then you like hear like the voiceover and they're like, wait, is it NSYNC or is it Backstreet Boys? And I was like, who are you people? It was NSYNC. Backstreet Boys had a very different setup. I'm not going to get into that because you and I are we're on different boy band spectrums.
Yes, I'm NSYNC and you are Backstreet Boys.
For life. That's right. So yeah, that's basically all they show is Macy hosting with Joey Fatone.
Yeah.
And then the ladies go to dinner. And there's more fighting, shocker. So Taylor calls out Demi because we find out that Demi feels like she deserves the biggest brand deals.
Yeah, she's like, you want the biggest brand deals, tell me why you think that is.
She's like, well, I don't think it's a secret. I was a fan favorite. And Taylor's like, yeah, but I'm the one who like laid my life on the line here to even get y'all here. And Taylor says that Demi has let the money go to her head. And, you know, she wouldn't be there without Taylor.
Right. Layla tries to defend Demi.
She does.
She tries. And then Taylor goes, can you let me finish talking? And then she just has this like...
like when she got hit in the head with a shrimp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, no, Taylor wasn't having it. But she was spitting facts, though. Like,
she was.
Let's be clear here.
Again, facts.
So Demi acknowledges that she was wrong for being willing to kick Jesse off the show, because Taylor has also brought that up when she's like, you want the biggest brand deals. You were fine to kick Jesse off the show. And you start seeing the little asides of a lot of the other women, and they're like, Demi, this side of Demi is concerning to me. You know, like, that's her best friend, and she was willing to kick her off the show, and like, she's getting wrapped up with money. Like, we start to see this thread.
Right. And so she says, spits all these facts out, and then she turns to Layla and is like, okay, go ahead. What you got to say now?
And Layla was just quiet. There was nothing else to be said.
So then he says, they do a cheers, right? They do a cheers.
They do a toast.
As the leader of Mom Talk, cheers.
Well, Demi does the
Demi
toast.
does that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was
And I was
awkward.
like, oh, shit. She doubled down on that bitch.
And then we find out, like, Demi, we see the softer side of Demi. And she starts talking about a fertility journey and having issues getting pregnant with Brett. More specifically, we find out Brett's sperm is basically dead. And it was just awkward. I was like, okay, I don't know. We need to know all that.
But they've been trying for like 4 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that she has endometriosis and that they've done like kind of energy healing. Like they're trying to do all of the things because it's just not coming together.
Right.
And then they're like, you know what? Forget all this sadness. Let's go to the club.
So we go to the club.
But not everybody. Taylor
right.
and Jesse take their tired behinds home, and I appreciate that. Because you know what? The morning when Whitney and Michaela are fighting at the table and all of that, you know where Taylor was? In bed.
Sleeping.
She said, I am a single mother of 3. I don't get to sleep much. I just need them to be quiet so I can get more sleep.
Yeah.
So it tracked that her and Jesse went to the house. Everybody else went out dancing.
They ended up having in a twerking competition.
They did.
Who
You don't
won?
want to speak more about the twerking competition?
I don't know anything. I blacked out. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Your eyes crossed?
Yeah, crossed. Darkness. Darkness all around.
Don't worry, babe. I watched it for you.
Oh, okay. What happened?
Well, Michaela wins the twerking contest. And like legitimately, like she held her own. And I was surprised little Michaela could twerk. But she could. The others could not. It was not okay. Now they're twerking and dancing. And then Taylor and Jesse are talking at the house in very comfy loungewear. And Taylor calls Demi out because after the girls get home, they've decided they want a skinny dip.
Right.
And it's most of them. And then Demi gets a call from Brett. And then she's like, you know what?
I'm not gonna go skinny dip anymore.
I can't skinny dip anymore.
It's like, ooh, the tables have turned.
Taylor's activated. And now she's calling out Demi. And it's just like, well, she calls out other people's spouses for controlling them. And now she got a call and she's not going to do it?
So
We've already seen you naked.
Right.
What does it matter?
Is it going to be the first time that you're not going to get naked?
So Demi's just like, no, I'm not going to do it.
And then she says in a confessional, I think, that like, oh, I just don't, I have kids. I don't want my kids to see this when they grow up. Stuff like that.
Right. But Jesse, Layla, and Miranda go skinny dipping with their underwear on, which I didn't really understand. But
Yeah. And then someone in back, I forgot who it was, but they say they all have boob jobs.
Yeah, I know. And that wraps up episode 6.
That's right. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
They,
Fun ones.
They get better. And at the end of every time we watch an episode, I am usually turning to you like, you want to watch another one?
Yeah. Or, don't hate me, but like, would you want to watch another one?
I don't sound like that.
That's cute. But yeah, that's the end of episode 6.
Yep.
So that wraps up 5 and 6 episodes. Stay tuned for next week. We dropping 8 and
7 and 8.
7 and 8. Mm-hmm. Episodes 7 and 8 of Sister Wives and Mormon Wives.
Secret Lives.
Secret Lives.
Mormon Wives.
What did I say? Sister Wives?
Yes, Sister Wives. The other show I love that I cannot get you into, but okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I mean,
I'll take Mormon Wives.
it's the beginning. It's the beginning.
Exactly.
Sister Wives is like 20 seasons in.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, stay tuned for next week on Monday. Episodes 7 and 8 are going to be dropping on Monday. And then 9 and 10 are going to be up.
Yep.
They're going to be dropping on Wednesday of next week as well. So stay tuned. I'm Oliver. This is Sybil. And this is Inspired Voices. All right.